and wonderful, wonderful experiences for some. So I thought about trust. It's really the foundation when we start talking about gratitude, is that we really have to trust. We trust in God. We trust in the people, our family, hopefully. And I found a definition by Charles Feltman on it. And it says trust is choosing to risk making something you value vulnerable to another person's actions. And think about that. We're choosing to take a risk for something that we really is precious to us. And we trust it to another person when we tell them about it or we show them. And distrust is built if someone breaks that. They don't keep that confidence or something happens. And I want to talk about that today in the context of how we can build trust, how we can share it, how we can be better at being a trustful individual. So one of my favorite authors is Brene Brown, and I know being a past member of UCM, I know that we've talked about Brene Brown. We've read books about Brene Brown, and she was talking about trust in her Dare to Lead. I love that. I was reading that this past year, and she said when she thinks of trust, she thinks of braving, BRVING. Braving, and she has acronyms for that. So we're going to talk about the acronyms this morning and how to build more trust in our lives, how to trust more individuals, and how to be a really wonderful person that people can trust. The first thing she says we have to do is establish boundaries. Does anyone here have problems with boundaries? I might have a few. I don't know. I think with becoming a Unity minister, that was something that I think most of us got called out on, is having boundary issues. Because we trust someone who is clear in their boundaries and they stick to them. And are you always clear in your boundaries? We have to think about that. Ask ourselves that question. And if I'm clear about my boundaries and somebody else respects them, then I can trust them. But there can't be trust built with no boundaries. So we have to start there. Reliability is the second acronym for the R. And we can only trust someone if they do what they say they're going to do. And it has to happen more than once. So I've had friends and relatives who have said, well, you can trust me now because I did this, but there's been 25 years of not being reliable, not showing up for things. It's going to take more than that. And so when we become reliable, when we give someone our word, it's important to meet that. Now, sometimes things can happen and we can't, and that's okay too. Just let them know. We're going to talk about that in the next acronym. We just have to do what we're going to say that we're going to do, and be really firm on that. So if someone's asked you to do something, and you really don't want to do it or you can't do it, it's okay to say no. Because remember, that's the boundaries that we can set for ourselves. So accountability, that's what I was just talking about. If we can't meet someone, what we've promised to someone, we need to be accountable for it too. We need to, it's not, if we promise something, someone's relying on us, they're trusting us. So, and it's not that we're saying, I can only trust you if and when you make a mistake, you're accountable for it. So it's okay for things to happen. We're having a fully human and fully divine experience. It's okay, but you have to be accountable. And the same goes for each one of us. I can only trust you if I make a mistake, I'm willing to own up and apologize for it. And once we can do that, we see that trust build. We see in our own country and world issues with that right now too, right? So that V for braving, and V stands for vault. Are we a vault? Think about what that means. If you're going to share something with me, I'm going to hold that in confidence. And I remember one of the times that I was at UCM and I really felt stretched on that because I'd had some issues. I'd just gone through a divorce and I was trying to figure out who I could trust. And I took one of the prosperity courses. And one of the steps in that prosperity course was to go to someone you can trust and talk about the things that you felt like you needed to get off your chest. I chose Arlene. And I was waiting for her to fall off her chair or pass out the whole time, and she didn't. She just smiled and she goes, "Is that it?" But I could go to her because I trusted her. I had that full trust in her, and I appreciate that. And remember, it's a big part, when I start thinking about prosperity, Arlene always comes to mind. So we have to hold things in confidence. And also if a friend comes up, in Unity we talk about triangulation. We're talking about what's happening with another person, and we share that. And if a friend comes up and says, "Hey, who split up and somebody cheated, and what do you think about that?" and having that conversation, that's not a vault either. That's not trusting, because we're talking about a situation that we really have no business talking about. So if the trust in the person's diminished because the other person who's receiving that's thinking, "Boy, if something happens in my life, can I tell this person? Can I trust them?" We have to really start thinking about that, because it leads into the next one is integrity. And integrity is about establishing a trusting relationship. You can't do it if you have a lack of integrity. And we have to encourage each other to do the same if we see something. And I love what Brene Brown says about integrity. She says integrity is choosing courage over comfort. That's a big one. Over what is fun, fast, and easy. Practice our values rather than simply professing them. And that, of course, is what the fifth unity principle, I live. It's not enough to know these things. We have to live them. So that really, when we think about that, are we practicing our values? When we think about integrity, are we taking that step out? Are there things we can improve on? I think when we're perfect, we won't be here anymore. So we're all here having that fully human experience, and we have things that come up, things that might test us. So think about that, about how you feel like you're showing up and what you can do to maybe improve. And of course, the N is non-judgment. That's the third power, right? Wisdom and judgment. And that's a tough one. I know I struggle with that one, because even if I'm not saying something, sometimes I might see something and that's going through my mind like, yeah, well, we wonder why they're having problems or whatever, And we just kind of, and if I say it out loud, my husband will say, "Cherie, you're better than that." And I'll say, "No, I'm not," for the moment. But then I have to remember, I have to take a step back, because judgment is one of those ones that where we look around, we're raised really in an environment, a culture that judges everything. So when we're being judgmental, are we being truly authentic? We're not. And if someone comes to ask us for help because they trust us, then we shouldn't be judgmentally there either. We should be honored that they trust us and ask us for help. Of course, if they move in with you and never leave, that could be another problem. The children coming home, or, sometimes that's a good thing. But we're here to help each other, to not be judgmental, to know that we're having this experience, and whatever a person is experiencing, is important. The final one, the G, is generosity. And it has a twist. A relationship is only trusting if you can assume the most generous thing about my words and intentions, and then you can check it out with me. Because remember, that judgmental thing comes in. So a lot of times if we think, well, they're not really serious, they're not giving me, they're trying to placate me, but they're really judging me, then it's okay to ask and say, "Do you really feel that way?" And hopefully that person says yes, because that is building trust. We all get into situations. Or maybe it's just me, I don't think so. But we all get into situations that we look back and say, "I wish that hadn't happened. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I hadn't said that." So generosity, being kind to the people that we trust, and them being kind to you. And this means that if I don't, or I make an assumption about somebody that's not very generous, I'd stop and I take stock of it. Not judgmental. Don't be judgmental about yourself. Just make the change. Just shift. Because that's when we see the true change happen. So this is the anatomy of trust, which really, it goes to gratitude. Because when we have that trust, the gratitude comes more naturally. In Romans 15:13, it says, "May the God of hope fill you with all the joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." It goes back to, I am. God is in every cell of my body, in every cell of yours, in everything, everywhere present, and it's good. So if we can breathe into that trust, that's where we come from. That's our foundation. Then we can move. So we need to trust, to be vulnerable, to be able to tell someone your story, and to know that it's okay. And we need to be vulnerable in order to trust, because then we're telling our story and we're trusting. So they're really interrelated. So the research participants on a study that was done at a university described trust as a slow building and layered process that happens over time. So you don't have to stand up after service and say, I trust. It's good if it's okay if you do. But if you're a little slower, that's fine too. This is a process. And it's not about doing heroic deeds. We welcome them too. Or even highly visible actions. But by paying attention to the people around us, by loving them, listening, and showing genuine care and connection. I can see it in this ministry with each other and how people are working through what appeared to be problems this morning, learning. It was a trust that was built. And Maya Angelou, who was always, I trust for these pearls of wisdom, said, I do not trust people who don't love themselves and yet tell me I love you. There's an African saying which is, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt. So, I love her. Think about that. If you aren't taking care of yourself, if you don't love yourself, can you truly trust others? It's okay to say, no, I need to take care of myself today. That's okay. This is part of our human experience. It's all a part of building the trust. And so we just celebrated Thanksgiving weekend, and I saw some turkey soup come in that looks amazing. And you just finished a prosperity course here. So would you like to put it to the test?
Yes.
Okay. Myrtle Fillmore said, heaven and earth listen and respond to the soul that is quickened into praise and thanksgiving. Praise is gratitude in action. So we think about that. So when I thought about that, I'm like, okay, we can do a marble jar and talk about all the things we appreciate. But then I started thinking even deeper. I started thinking about the things that I appreciate in my life. And I realized it would be even more fun to create, and I didn't get marbles, I got diamond shapes because diamond is of more value in our culture, right? So we're going to build that this morning, and we're going to build it for Unity of Central Massachusetts. It's one of the things that I hold gratitude for. When I came here in 2006, it was an amazing awakening journey. Unity found me when I was on my way to go windsurfing in Hawaii at Unity of Honolulu in 1989. I almost said 1889. I haven't been around that long. Or maybe I just look great. So I appreciated it. And I loved it. I came on. I lived in Washington State and belonged to Unity of Kent, Washington. But it wasn't until I came to Unity of Central Massachusetts that I walked in and I knew something had changed. And I had so many great opportunities here too. It really helped jumpstart. I never thought about I could accept I was a Unity Truth student. But to go and become a minister? No. To get that calling? And that was in large part with everything that was within me, but also what Unity of Central Massachusetts brought to me, allowed me to be. And it was through volunteerism. And Jen, I always had a joke because whatever she did, when she left it, I followed. And it was not the bookstore ever, thank you. She's done a great job with that. But volunteer coordinator. Has anybody done that here? I've brought flowers, been the usher and and come and set up. But also it gave me an opportunity to meet people and the fun and the family that we have. And also then becoming a board member. Because becoming a board member is one of the most precious experiences you can have. As that, I came on because Jen was done being secretary, so I became a secretary. And then when she moved on from treasurer, I became the treasurer. But it gave me these opportunities to understand. I had been in nonprofit management as an executive director for years, but I'd never done it in a church, never done it in a spiritual center. And I learned so much. So if you get the opportunity, I highly, highly recommend it. It's amazing. And then the idea that we needed a youth program because we had all these kids showing up. So started a youth program and said, I could be a youth minister. And Reverend BJ said, I think you could be a minister. And I had to sit with that for a while. First, I'm like, no, I didn't see that. But the calling started to come. And through the love of this community, I was able to move forward and move out when Rhode Island, the center closed to open the center in Rhode Island in 2009. And to move forward through ministerial school, the journey that you're on. It's amazing. Carmen, I'm so thrilled for you. And so this morning, let us build this. I'm going to leave it behind. And if you're comfortable coming up if you want to, yes, call out. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. So, I have large diamonds. I have little ones. I have medium-sized ones. And I also brought pearls, large and small, because pearls of wisdom. So I'd like to start, if I can, and it's with a large diamond. And I'm going to put this in as the basis for UCM, for my spiritual community that brought me to be a minister, unity minister. And the pearls of wisdom that I learned along the way, the 5 principles were really important, especially that I am this, because I'd been in unity a long time, but I didn't understand it until I sat in the classes, until we talked about it, sometimes argued, friendly, a little heart agreement, but, and came to the understanding that we are eternal beings. I learned that here. Fully eternal means there's no start and there's no end. We're on this journey, and we're a soul family. We're meant to come together at certain times. So I'd like to put a pearl in that. And if you would like to come up, I have little diamonds, large and small pearls, medium, and large. And help me build this jar. And if you're online in Zoom, you can unmute yourself. Is that okay? Unmute yourself and call it out, and I'll put this in. If you're not comfortable coming up, you can also tell me, and I'll pick a diamond for you and put it in. And we're going to build this gratitude jar for Unity of Central Massachusetts. Because it's precious. The precious gifts. Okay. So go ahead, everybody start.
I'll start over here on Zoom.
Okay.
I'm Linda. I'll go with a diamond.
What size?
Large, of course.
And yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about that. And what would you like to say about it?
That all intention that we created today will go forward to infinity and beyond. Like no bounds.
Love that. All right, anybody else? And pearls of wisdom we have. So think about it. We're going to fill this jar. Because if you're think about how many people Unity of Central Mass has impacted, has touched.
Iris wants to say something.
Okay, go for it.
Go ahead, Iris.
I would like a large diamond to thank and be in gratitude for the UCM community that has really been the wind beneath my wings during this awful year. Thank you.
Awesome. How about you? Yes, absolutely. Here's the big ones, the little ones, the medium ones, and the pearls. And if you,
Okay.
go ahead.
Let me take the big one.
Okay. Here you go. You guys are either trying to fill the jar fast or
Yes.
Unity of Central Massachusetts needs this.
Probably in a pink jacket.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you drove last.
Yeah, maybe in the pink jacket. Let me know if you.
Okay.
Linda, we need you to mute.
I'm sorry. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, this intention is going to be for Reverend BJ, Barbara Sterner, for believing myself and giving me the opportunity to become a licensed Unity teacher, to expand the Unity in Espanol, and priceless moment with Reverend BJ. This is my stone,
Oh.
my diamond.
Oh. Oh. Who else?
This is Sky.
Hi, Sky.
Hi. So I would like to put a medium-sized diamond into the jar. And the intention I put towards it is grace and gratitude, being Unity of Central Massachusetts, being such a guiding light in my life, and being it's always the light in my life, and I see that in many ways going forth and expanding.
Awesome. Thank you, Sky. Arlene.
I'm going to put this pearl in here, and this pearl is for this beautiful space that we have in not so fond remembrance for the so many years that we spent in our other buildings setting up. And it is a joy to just walk in here each Sunday and do nothing but sit down. God bless.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to start going to the gym when I stopped being in that building. How about anybody else? Think about the lives that this organization touches. Before you met me, if you didn't know me, I see a lot of old friends here too. You probably didn't even know that I had come through here. Oh,
Yeah, I
Bob,
mean,
yes.
yeah, I don't think the bag of diamonds you've got is enough
How many would you
uh,
like me to put in?
for the gratitude and the help that I've gotten to sustain me in my sojourn so far since my last operation. I mean, without you folks, without the prayers, without the affection, without the love, without the diamonds in my life, I wouldn't be here. So I'm just so humbled by it all. And please keep them coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I'll put in a big diamond for me.
Okay.
I'm grateful for all the Unity principles and for my quest to keep them alive within my heart, to have my I am presence be really strong, and doing this whole service that my husband and I taking care of an aging parent. And even though things happen that you could freak out about, because of these principles, it's just magic.
Awesome.
So the ease and the grace is continuing. I'm
Awesome.
grateful.
Awesome. And you had something. You can come on up if you want.
So I'm not going to end up filling the whole damn
Well, you know what? It needs to be filled.
Okay, so I'm going to start with two pearls: awakening and awareness, being more consciously aware. Then I'm also, are these the littlest guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna put in 8.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'm asking that we will all be ambassadors of peace and goodwill, joy, beauty, freedom, justice, love, and light. And that we will spread all of those wonderful attitudes everywhere we go.
Thank you. And how about the amazing board and the spiritual leader? How much appreciation do we have? Right? What else?
I was going to do board, and I also wanted to do 4 diamonds for all our visiting ministers and LUTs that have helped us keep going. We have Reverend Kathleen, we have Reverend Tony, we've got Reverend Cherie,
And LUT Amy, right?
Yeah, Amy and all the people that make this work. It looks like when you come in, it looks a little effortless. You should have been here at 9:30.
Sherry,
Yes.
can I say another one, please?
Absolutely.
I'm on the nominating committee along with Jen Snee and Elisa Permain, and I'd like to put in 2 diamonds of any size for the 2 new board members that are going to come forth. Thank
All
you.
right. Awesome. So this is our gratitude jar. And when we're done, you can still put in things after service. We'll be listening. You can come up, you can fill it. Let's fill it. I know that all of our intentions are in there. And it's brimming with love and trust and gratitude. Yes, Patty.
I want to put, excuse me, about 3 diamonds. If it wasn't for Claudia, Reverend Claudia Sarah, asking Marie and I to come to Unity Center, Community Center of Central Massachusetts.
Right.
Way back when.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here today, and I wouldn't be a board member, and I wouldn't be a prayer chaplain, and I wouldn't have met everyone here and created really close bonding friendships with everyone. And Unity has changed my life. I'm loving myself more than I have ever loved myself. I'm more confident in myself. And this community is just, it's a light in my life. And I thank each and every one of you because we are all God. And it's coming from my heart. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Joellen.
I'd like to put in, I don't know, a couple mediums for our founding mothers.
Yes.
Owen DJ and Arlene Dorschild.
Yes. Yes.
You know what really brought me was when we did the prosperity manifestation, and I'd like to pearl for that. The manifestation was it the Fillmores that did the 4 T's.
Yes.
The manifestation was unbelievable, and a diamond that I realized that I have direct communication with God, and being a Catholic, I thought that I had to go through every, priest, and everybody had the knowledge. But what I learned in Unity is that I have the knowledge within, and I have the direct communication.
That's a big one.
Amen.
Woo!
That has been a very powerful tool to create
Hello.
source.
Hi, Davina.
Hi, Davina.
Hi, everyone. I just want to put 2 diamonds, the big one for the beautiful community that UCM is, and another one for the beautiful leaders that we have and all the service that they gave it to the community.
Thank you. All right, we're going to meditate, but I have these up here, or if you're online and you want to add something, just let us know after service. And the jar is really almost full, and it'd be nice if it was overflowing. So as we think of gratitude, just hold it in your hearts. And we sit in this community